What is going on, guys? I'm here to give you my 1 year Turo experience. Tell you how it went, the pros, the cons, and all that. So let's get into it. So a little preface about me is that I've basically been a mechanic almost my whole life. Been working on cars, building cars, building race cars, whatever. I've always liked fast cars, especially imports. I've always been into imports. And I pretty much got tired of working on cars every day because it's just like you get into it to work on cool cars, fast cars, and all this stuff. And then you get a job at some shop and you end up working on a little Prius or Nissan Altima with cockroaches in it. And it's just like, it's gross. You can't wait to get out of there. You get tired of working on cars. You don't even want a car anymore, So that's where I was, and I got tired of it. I'm like, what can I do to make money and not have to work on cars 24/7? So for my first Turo car, I got this 2014 Dodge Charger. I wanted to get something kind of cheap, and I didn't want to finance anything, so I bought this one cash. It was $10,000. I got it from the dealership, and I only had like, I want to say 87,000 miles, and it's super clean. The interior is nice, like no dings, no dents. Everything on it is in pretty good condition. And one of the reasons that I got this car is, like I stated earlier, is I'm an import guy. I don't want to get a car that I like, that I'm gonna feel any type of attachment towards it. So I got this in case it gets messed up, beat up, and whatnot, which it did. Surprisingly, it hasn't gotten banged up too much. I mean, it's got scuffed up in the bumper got ripped up a little. It's crazy because it's always been the rear bumper. It's been hit like 3 or 4 times. The second car that I had got was a Mitsubishi Mirage. That one also got crashed. Luckily, I got paid for it. Didn't want to keep it because it wasn't doing too good. So I sold it after I fixed it. So after getting rid of that Mitsubishi Mirage, the one thing I noticed is that those cheap cars, really, really cheap cars, I bought that car for like $4,000 cash. Actually, no, I think it was like $3,500. And those cars only rent out for maybe $25, $30 a day. And the hassle that you have to deal with, people smoking in them, trashing them, it just isn't really worth it. Especially in my area, the type of people that would, rent that car, they just didn't care about it, which I already know people aren't going to care about. It's not theirs. It wasn't making any money. So I realized I need to get something a little higher end and rent it for more, and hopefully people will take care of it a little better, and it should make a lot more money. The third car I got was a Dodge Durango RT. That car, actually, I kind of liked it a little bit. It was nice. Had 3 rows, and it moved. I actually used it for towing quite a bit when I needed to pull stuff. But that car, they actually took it, said it was stolen, ran drugs with it, ran from the cops, got pit maneuvered by the cops, got it back, had to make a claim. And luckily, Turo paid me on that, and I actually ended up making money because I fixed it myself. But after I fixed it, it had problems that kept arising here and there, so I would always have to fix it. So I ended up selling that one too. So for the next car, I found a 2020 Range Rover Evoque, and I did finance that one, and I put that one on the app, and instantly started doing way better. I was making way more money, and it was coming back clean. A lot of the time, people would actually clean it, bring it back clean, so the people who are renting it just took way better care of it. And of course, you still have the one-offs here and there that bring it back disgusting, but that wasn't as often. And because now it's all-wheel drive and a lot more safety features, I think that's probably one of the reasons why it hasn't been crashed. And I've had that car for quite a while now, and it's been doing very good. And with that car, it's been making me a minimum of $500 a month, and at most it's made $1,200 a month. So that's a lot more than if I was renting out the Mitsubishi Mirage. And it's also one of my favorite cars to drive. Whenever it's here, I try to drive it sometimes if I need to go somewhere and do something. It's just a comfortable car, and it does have some features that could be better. Like, I don't like the automatic start stop, which there's a way of turning that off, but every time somebody drives it, they change all the settings. Like, I've had people bring it back and everything's in kilometers and Celsius and all this. I'm like, why would you do that? But then I have to change them all back, and you could set different keys and stuff for it, but I just haven't got to all that. It's just so much technology in it that some people don't really like that, but for the most part, they haven't had a problem with it. And then, so after I got that car, I was like, all right, well, this is doing great. Let's keep going with a little bit higher end cars. So the next car I got was BMW X5. Now, this car was really nice as well, and it's been out doing pretty good too. I've only had this one, like, I want to say 3 months at most. So a lot of the cars that I've gotten has been kind of towards the end of the year. So at the beginning, I only had the Charger and the Mitsubishi Mirage, and that one wasn't doing too crazy, especially since I had to keep taking it off to fix stuff and whatnot. So at the beginning, the year was kind of slow. I was still getting used to it, getting to know the app, figuring out the best settings for pickup, drop off, like the hours, how soon to pick up a car, and all that. And then once I got the hang of it, that's why the end of the year just started blowing up, and obviously I started putting more cars on the app as well. And I was kind of surprised with the BMW because I thought it was gonna be like doing the best out of all the cars, but it typically has been making around $800 or $900 per month, at least the last couple months. So the Range Rover's been doing a lot better, making $1,000, $1,200, more around that range. Dodge Charger is actually the cheapest car I have on the app right now too, and that one averages about $600 a month. It has had some crazy months where somebody actually had it rented out 2 months straight, and those months it made a little over $1,000 each month because it was gone every single day, and that was great because I didn't have to clean it, see it, or anything. I really like this X5 a lot too, especially with the third row. That's why I was like, man, this car is gonna get rented like crazy. But like I said, the Range Rover's still outdoing it by a lot. But I was like, let me still go with the third row, get another third row vehicle, and see how that does. But let's get something not as high end, but maybe something a little more popular. So I got a Kia Telluride next. And that one has a third row, but it has a 3-row third row, so it seats 8 people instead of this one, how it holds 7. So I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna do good. And I got that one in November, so I didn't really get it posted till December. And the first month, it went crazy. It did like almost $1,200 that month. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, obviously the holidays, people are gonna rent it a little bit more, but I was excited because it kept getting booked a lot. So now in January, it's already over 1,000 as well. So I was like, all right, so this is it. This is definitely a good car for Turo. So now I got that, and then just trying to get other different vehicles because I financed that one, and I financed which one was it? The Challenger. So that one, I got the Dodge Challenger. I forgot about that one because RIP, that one I got, and it was doing really good as well. It was, you know, averaging pretty high, over 800 to 1,000 a month, and it got crashed. It got totaled, and Turo's paying me out. Luckily, with payout, basically just paying off the car. So I'm not gonna make any money off of that. Luckily, I did make some money renting the car out. But other than that, basically just have to get a new car now. So this is the Kia Telluride. It is a little bit dirty. I got this car used with a little bit higher mileage than I would like, close to 100,000. And I get cars at that mileage because they're gonna be a lot cheaper. And since I'm a mechanic, I can pretty much fix anything. And I have had to fix a couple things. This one had an issue with the axle, which is kind of common. A little bit of shaking when you hit the gas, slinging grease everywhere. And then the oil filter housing was leaking oil, so I had to replace that. Luckily, these were easy fixes for me, you know, less than $100 for the oil filter housing, 100 and 250 for the axle, and then I did all the work myself. But other than that, the car's been doing pretty good. So and I really like it. It's got a lot of cool technology on it that some of the fancy cars have. So for a Kia, it's definitely really nice. So a couple of the newer cars I've gotten, for not new cars but newer for me, this Audi A6. I've only had it on there probably half of the last month and this month, and been averaging about 600 a month. But we'll see how it does here going forward. And the newest one I just added this month is the 2020 Subaru Forester, and this one actually surprised me. It's already, like I said, this is the first month and it's already made over $900. It was gone about half the month, so that's great. And I have a couple other cars I'm adding. I have a Chevy Camaro 2016. That one, we just got it the other day, and that'll be going on the app too. Also, I have two Ford Mustangs. One of them is a convertible. One of them is not. They're both, one of them's 2015. The other one's like a 2019. Those are both rented out right now. Those are also doing surprisingly well, but I just got them. One of them just got posted yesterday, so I don't really have any data on those either. But I'll probably make an update video. Not sure when, but we'll see. All right, so let's talk about some of the pros and cons and what I think about Turo. So for me, I personally like it a lot because, like I said, I don't have to work on cars as much. I just give people the keys, let them go with the car. I don't really have to do much other than when it comes back, clean it, send it on its way. But the one thing I will say is that if you don't know how to work on cars, if you're not mechanically inclined, you're probably not going to make money on Turo. That's probably the number one thing when it comes to this, because when a car breaks, if you take it to a shop, it's far too expensive and you're not going to make profit on the car, especially even if you have the 75 plan on Turo to where you get paid more when the car breaks down. If you take the car to a shop, you're going to have to end up paying your deductible. Unless you know a shop, then you might be better off, but still, then you still have to get the oil changes done, which typically on a car is like $100 for oil change. You do it yourself, you end up paying $25-30 for the oil change. So you're saving a lot of money doing it yourself. And when things happen, like when I did the axle on the Kia, the axle was an $800 part from the dealership. You go get it done there, you're looking at almost $2,000. I found the part for $250, put it in myself, and it was ready to go the next day. So stuff like that is where you really lose profit on there, is if you have to take it to a shop, breaks, anything, you know. So saving a lot of money doing it myself allows me to make profit with the cars when they go out and all these things. Because if it wasn't for me doing all the work last year, I would have been negative. So if you don't know how to fix cars, can't do at least even your own oil changes or anything like that, Turo's probably not for you. And so secondly, definitely the vehicle selection for sure is very important, especially depending what area you're in. You have to kind of see what's out there, see how much things are renting for. But I don't ever really recommend going super cheap with the cars and getting really low cars unless you really just want something. Like if you're just doing Turo just to have one car and have it pay for itself, then sure, you can get Nissan Altima or something. If you just want a car that gets paid for, post it on there, you know, make the car payment, and you're good. Hopefully it lasts until the car's paid off. Other than that, if you want to make money, the way I see it is typically get cars that are perceived high value. So, you know, like the BMW, Range Rover, people look at those and they're like, the brand is like, oh, okay, that's a nice car. But you can find some of these cars pretty cheap. And when you find those cars cheap, you rent them out, people usually take care of them a little better because they're going out, trying to go to a fancy place, look fancy, so they don't want to pull up with a car that's trashed. Sometimes they do go out and they end up trashing them anyway, but that's not as often. So for me, that's what has worked best, especially in my area. And I just want to keep going and get a little bit more into luxury vehicles and keep escalating. But that's coming. That's not here yet. But I do want to get into the higher end cars, supercars and stuff like that, and tap into that market. But we're not right now, just growing and just trying to build my fleet so I can build the income for it. Another one of the biggest points is how you buy your cars. So at first I wanted to get cars, buy them, pay them off, pay cash and have all these cars. But it's a lot harder to do that because to get a good car that's running good, in great shape, doesn't need anything, and it's not going to give you issues or break down on you, you're probably going to end up looking at paying close to $10,000 because of, you need a car that's less than 12 years old. It has to be less than 130,000 miles. And yeah, sure, you could find some cheaper. You might get one for $5,000-$6,000, but it's probably not going to rent out for much. So if you want a car that's going to rent out at least $50, $55, $60 a day, you're probably going to be in the $10,000 or more range. And for that, if you just keep buying cars cash, $10,000, you're at $30,000 and you only have 3 cars. So that's why financing and finding other ways of creative financing is very important for Turo. So right now, I technically only have 2 car payments that I financed for myself. And I figured I have to find other ways to get cars because I can't just keep adding another car to my credit, because now they're like, oh, we don't want to give you another car because I already have loans in my name. So if they do, I tried to apply for another one and they were going to give it to me, but they wanted to give me like a 19% interest rate. I'm like, nah, that's way too high. So I try to do creative financing where I either take over people's payments and I just take the car over and then it's my car, make the payments. Whenever it's done paying off, they'll sign the title to me. Or I can find people that, hey, you want to make some money and have a passive income. And I try to make it as passive for them as possible, to where all they do is go and finance a car. Typically, I try to tell them, get a car 0%, 0 down. Try to get as long as the term as possible so the payment is as low as possible so that we can make money immediately, short term, and hopefully the car makes it and we just keep making money. Now they have a paid off car for free. And so the way I do it is like, we'll get the car, we'll make the payment first, and then anything after that, we just split the profit. And it's easier that way because for me, I don't have to buy another car. I don't have to put it on my credit or anything like that. And somebody who wants to make a little extra money on the side, all they have to do is finance a car. They don't have to come out of pocket, spend any money, finance the car. If they want to put something down or have to, then that's a different story. But for the most part, the way I've done it, I've gotten a couple of cars like that. They put 0 down. They're like, here's the car. So I manage everything. I clean the car. I keep it at my house. If anything breaks, I fix it. And then we just split the profit. And they don't have to do anything. They don't have to meet anybody. They don't know anything that's happening. I just send them a check every month. And that works for me and that works for them, because I get more cars and that's still more income. So that's how I've been trying to build my fleet. And then also with the creative financing, like taking over somebody's car with the sub 2. So basically just like a subject to, like for a house, but I do it with cars. I just take over their payments and now it's my car and it's still not on my credit, but it's another car payment. And I try to get cars with as low payment as possible. Like most of the cars I get are like $300 or less for the payment. It's like some of the most expensive ones I have is like the Range Rover. That one, the payment's $480 a month, but it's been making, $1,000 to $1,200 per month. So it's been making profit, and that's mine. I don't have to share it with anyone. The Challenger I had got, the payment was only $380, and that car was making almost $1,000 per month. So that car was making profit as well. And now with Turo, since they have their new insurance with tint, it's even easier because you can get a car with full coverage on tint with off trip insurance, and it's only $89 for full coverage, $1,000 deductible, and that saves so much on insurance, because if you get a car through any other insurance, you're looking at paying almost $200-$300 a month or more for full coverage if you have a payment on it. So with the tint, it's great. And then if the car's paid off, I'll just put liability on it, and it's only like $50 a month for the insurance. So I'm saving a lot of money with the tint insurance that Turo has. So for me, Turo's been going really great. Even when they crash the cars, I don't have to take it to a shop. I fix it myself, and then whatever they give me, I'm able to keep some of that money and then put the car back on the app and keep renting it. Some of the cars, like the Dodge Challenger, luckily I was able to get the car at a good price where I had it for 6 months, made money off of it, got totaled. That car basically paid what I owed on it, and I still made, probably around $4,000 or $5,000 off that car. And now it's just totaled, and that's just a car gone, and now I just finance another car. So luckily I didn't lose any money on it, which is why it's very important to buy the right car, because you don't want to get a car that you're upside down in, unless you already have a car that you're upside down and you want to rent it out and try to fix that. That's okay. But when you're going to buy a car, it's very important that you run the numbers, make sure it's not too expensive, make sure that you have coverage on it, and all those things. So for me, it's been a really good year on Turo. Like I said, it started slow. Some of the headaches that happened with the cars crashing, and it's like it all happened at once. Boom, the Durango got crashed. Boom, the Mitsubishi Mirage got crashed. Boom, the Charger got hit in the bumper. And it got so tough that I almost wanted to quit at one point. And I was really, I had even paused my account and everything, snoozed all the cars. And that's the 1 month where I have the lowest amount where I really dipped because I wasn't doing anything. And then there was a couple months where I was gone for 2 weeks. So this year, or last year, the beginning was rough. I did not make as much as I probably could have, because I was like always out, and I was kind of over it at first. But then once I started getting paid, like when a car gets hit and it's fixable, Turo is very fast with giving you money to fix the car most of the time. So most of the time I've had it to where if it's a small incident, it gets hit, I'm paid within 2-3 days. And then, but if it's something where the car's totaled, it might take a little bit longer. It might take about a month, maybe a little longer. Right now, it's been about a month, and I'm almost closed with the Challenger. So I'm hoping within the next week or two that'll be done. So you just have to be mindful of things like that. But other than that, I really enjoy Turo. It's been working for me, and just trying to keep building the fleet, and I like it. So there's a lot of people that don't like it, and I'm on, Facebook groups where people just complain about it all the time. And there are a lot of downfalls to Turo with the way that they do things now with like their reviews. Like if somebody doesn't leave you a review, now it's almost counted as a 1-star review, and it hurts your metrics quite a bit. So they're making it a lot harder for people to reach, all-star hosts and power hosts and all these things because of those metrics. And so a lot of people complain about it because it's like not everybody leaves reviews. So how are you going to penalize me for somebody that doesn't leave a review? But some of those things you just have to live with them now because they made the change. And yeah, it sucks, but you just have to either put up with it or get off the app. So me, it's like, all right, they made a change. Well, just gotta try to get reviews. Then, oh well. So that's one of the things. Other than that, I think it's pretty easy, pretty smooth. The app, very easy to use, user friendly. So we'll see how this next year goes, and I'm hoping that this year is a lot more than last year. My goal for this year is to hit $100,000 by the end of the year, hopefully more. And obviously that's just, not counting that, that's not profit, that's just what I'll make with the cars. And hopefully that's still quite a bit of profit. But That's my goal for this year. And I will keep you guys updated, and I'll do another review maybe in another probably 6 months. I'll try to do it a little sooner, and I'll probably post some shorts here and there. So if you like this, like my content, make sure to hit that subscribe and like the video. Thank you very much.